Louis announced a great truth when he said that imagination is superior to the will, but he did not explain the philosophy behind this truth. It is a fact that what he said is true, but we wish to analyze the fact and discover the reason back of it. For if anything is true, there is always a reason for its being true. Will is an assumption, pure and simple. We do not will to live. We live because we have life and cannot help living. The use of the will could not make us anything that we are not, for it is not possible to get out of a bag anything that the bag does not contain. We live because life is within us. We did not make life and we cannot change it, but we can use it, and the use of life is through the imagination. Because this faculty has, at its roots, the very wellspring of life and action. Imagination carries with it feeling and conviction, which mean life and action. It awakens within us all the finer forces of nature and stirs into action latent powers which otherwise will never come to the surface. At the very root of the whole matter, we find that the creative power of the universe does not create through will, but through imagination, imagining, feeling, and knowing. To suppose that God must will things to happen would be to suppose that God had some opposing force to contend with. Willpower may be necessary in its place, but as a creative agency it is not existent. It is not creative but directive, and used from this standpoint it is a wonderful force. Whereas used from any other angle it becomes destructive and will mentally weary the one using it. To feel that we have to will things to happen casts doubt into the face of creation and presupposes that life is not self-existent and self-propelling. Imagination taps the very roots of being and utilizes the same power that brought the words forth from chaos. The words were framed by the word of God. Imagination is the power of the word, while will is the directive agency, denoting the purpose for which the word is spoken. Man reproduces the power to create and, in his own life, controls his destiny through the activity of his word. This word cannot be willed, but it can be imagined or imaged forth into expression. How to visualize? Visualizing means mentally seeing the things that you wish to have or to do. When you mentally see the things you desire and see them very clearly, you are presenting universal mind with images of thought, and like the creative soil of the ground, it at once tends to project them into form. If the thought image is clear, it provides a good mold. If it is imperfect, the mold is a poor one. This does not mean that one must set his mind or all thought. It simply means that he must think clearly. There is no power in holding thoughts. Indeed, the real secret of success mental work is to lose thought and let mind operate upon it. The first thing to do is to decide what you wish to image into mind. After having become composed in thought, begin to see the complete outcomes of your desires in mental pictures. Suppose that you wish to demonstrate a home. You shall know just what kind of home you wish. Of course, if you simply thought of house, you will get something, but the more definite the picture, the better the results will be. In order to make the picture complete, decide just what kind of a home you wish to live in. Then, in the silence of your thought, mentally look at this house. Go from room to room, stopping here and there to look at some piece of furniture or at some picture on the wall. Make the whole thing real as far as possible. Enter the house, sit down, and feel that you are actually living there, saying, I am now living in the house. You have set a word in motion through the law which will bring a realization of your desire, unless you yourself neutralize the picture by doubting it. Do this every day until the house appears. Use the same process in visualizing anything. In order that you may fully understand just what I mean, I will illustrate by drawing a mental picture which I will ask you to follow as you read these lines. Imagine that you are with me. We will suppose that I am a man about 6 feet tall, with light hair and complexion. We are sitting on the front porch of a house that is painted green. It is a two-story house and sits quite far back from the road. There are tall trees standing in front of the house through which the sun is shining. We can see the little shadows as they play upon the porch through the open spaces between the trees. The breeze is gently blowing and the leaves are waving back and forth. I am talking to you, saying, "Let us take a walk together." We immediately rise from our seats, which are made of wicker, and walk down 3 stone steps to a gravel walk leading to the street. As we go out through a stone gate, we are suddenly met by a dog which is running along the street. He is a large yellow dog and is running rapidly. We watch him as he runs, barking down the street till he turns a corner, and our picture is at an end. Now, if you have carefully imagined each step in the above picture, you will understand what visualizing means. In the creation of any form, it is necessary for its image to exist in mind before it can come into realization in the external. The law, being only a neutral force, cannot initiate anything and cannot of itself choose to create anything. It is a doer only, not a knower. The word alone knows, so we may assume that each word is a law unto itself, through the one great law of all life. Man's creative power in his word is marvelous, for every time he thinks, he sets the law in motion. As his thought sets the law in motion, it is specializing it for some definite purpose, and in this way his word becomes the law unto the thing which he speaks. Of course, man never really creates, but his use of creative power makes his word creative through the medium of mind. This shall give to all a sense of freedom and a realization that there is neither competition nor monopoly. He leaves each to work out his own salvation, not with fear or even trembling, but with a calm sense of peace and assurance. Behind the scenes with Philip.